Hi, welcome to Storytime. My name is Rosemary. Today I'm here with Laura and Ken. And is there anything that you guys would like to introduce yourself with coming in about what you guys do?
Well, the name of our community is 190 Vision, and our whole goal is to basically teach individuals how to be able to help themselves through working with the spiritual realm.
Awesome. How have you guys noticed, I'm going to say, like, this awakening process? I mean, have you been awakened, aware spiritually a long time, or was it something that was profound that happened for both of you?
Okay, so this is where, oh, this is Ken, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And this is where it might sound strange. My wife has mentioned to me this term awakening. I think we even recorded a video about it, correct?
Yes.
But I really don't know what an awakening is. All I know is that I'm guided by the Ascended Masters and my spirit guides,
Hmm.
and that's all I know. So for me to make comments about an awakening would be very misleading because I don't know what it is.
Fair enough. Um, and do you see, I could kind of bridge that a little bit because I see a bit of the community have this process of awareness, but I do agree what
Mhm.
you're talking about, guided by ascended masters. Same with myself. I feel like I've been awake and aware my entire life. So kind of don't understand the process as much. I just notice it. Um, do you when you do you have you come across people in the community who are asking that same question about awakening? Like,
I come across individuals through social media, especially since we have a Facebook page and we have Instagram, YouTube, who talk about awakening and their so-called awakening process.
So maybe just to interject a little bit, maybe you should clarify then that you follow social media, but I don't.
I follow the social media
that's
because
understandable.
that's how we are able to connect with and help all the individuals who've been coming to us over the years. So
Just so that you know, um, Rosemary, the only reason why I don't do that is because I want to avoid any type of bias or outside influence compared to what I receive.
I
If
agree.
I'm a very skeptical person. So if, let's say, for example, I feel like I received something to deliver to someone, and I would have read something on social media about it, I'd start questioning whether or not I think I'm receiving that because of whatever I could have read or seen. So that's why I avoid it completely.
I agree. I'm honestly in social media for just connecting the people together. But I do agree because it is what I believe that what you put your focus and attention to is what you bring into yourself and into your surroundings. If that makes
That's
sense.
cool.
Yes.
No, that makes sense. Most
Yes.
definitely.
We are, the way I describe it is like we're our own universe, and then we have multiple people, so it's a multiverse. So
Yes.
what you bring into your person, into your field, that is what you're inviting into your universal time for in your space. So I very much
Most
agree.
definitely. Most definitely. So my wife is going to continue with her story.
I don't
Yes,
remember
please.
where I was going, but anyway.
Please do. I'm sorry to interrupt.
You brought about awakening on
Oh,
social media is
Yes.
where.
right. So, and I myself am not able to identify with what people describe as awakening. I mean, I grew up as a Catholic, so
Hmm.
I've always had a spiritual background and a belief and knowing in the spiritual realm. So for me, it's just second nature. Um, although I don't have the same abilities like my husband has developed over the years. But for me, that's I guess where my awakening stance is. So when individuals come to us talking about challenges that they're having and asking questions about, are these symptoms of awakening? I'm kind of, a little bit in a position where I'm not sure how to answer them because I don't associate any symptoms to be with that. It's more of a process of understanding who we are and understanding life in general as frequency uh, and how to go through life and learn the lessons that we're supposed to learn in order to be able to grow and move forward.
Great. I do agree with
Did that
that.
answer your question?
Yes, yes, it did. Yes. Um, do you? I have watched a few of your videos. So do you guys? I mean, I know you've talked about psychic and medium, but do you exhibit any abilities that are unique? I mean, everybody's unique, but do you exhibit them as a child, or And you've explained that this awakening process. But has anything new come in to your ability awareness as you've grown?
Wow, I never thought about that. That's a very good question, actually. And here's why it's a very good question. Because my wife will tell you, she'll probably elaborate on this. There are many things, yes, since I was a child, there are certain things that I I experienced and I just thought they were normal. And then as I got older, well, actually, it's when I met my wife, and she started to, well, not when we met, but once we became friends, so, she started to notice some of these things, and she thought that they were out of the ordinary.
Supernatural.
So, so then that's when I started to wonder, okay, what's going on here? But over the years, all of a sudden we'll be talking, and then, for example, one time you were talking about the people that could smell sound and what
Oh,
was that?
yes. What is that called? Synesthesia or something like that?
Right, synesthesia. She said, "Oh, I saw this video again, social media, right?" So she saw this video about this synesthesia. So what is that? And she started describing it to me. I said, "Well, yeah, everybody can do that."
I was like, no, not everybody can do that. I do not hear color and see smells and things. That is not everybody as far as I know.
And so then she asked, "Well, can you do that?" I said, so I gave her a couple examples of when we were um, talking to individuals, right? We were actually mingling individuals and how I could tell certain things based on how I tasted the words that were coming out and certain things that I saw. She's like, "What?" So
Yes.
to me, that wasn't an awakening. It was just more of a realization that it wasn't something everybody could do. As far as I'm concerned, everything that I experience, everybody can do.
And everybody can experience. But
And that's why I've never seen it as it's something extraordinary. And that's what we do at One Night initially when someone comes to us and they require help with something. We explain to them that yes, we're doing it for you for now, we're facilitating it for you for now, but we'd like you to be trained so you can do this for yourself and your loved ones because they can also do it and they're realizing that they can.
I find that.
So I hope that answered your question a little bit. I don't think I've ever developed anything new. It's more about my wife pointing out, I didn't realize you could do that. No, that's not normal.
I agree. I've been through that process myself. Just to share, I actually paint music and paint
There you
souls.
go.
I pull actually through the energy through my body, which would be like chakras, and I've been doing my best to teach that how to channel the music to paint or to access what
Mhm.
people call would be Akash, but it's multiverse, so it's different pictures that
See?
form. Yes, so it's you're able to tap into that in your body, and a lot of it is what I believe. What's difficult is, and like we were saying, is you train somebody to do it, but it's not going to be the same as you do it, and it's going to be how they do it. But to be able to train them to
That's
go,
correct.
yes, to
That's
open it up
correct.
for them, be able to do that, I totally agree with that. So yes, that did answer my question. I'm going to ask something, and you don't have to quite share, but I do know a lot of people in their journey, especially people who are calling themselves light workers, have gone through inner conflicts or survival tactics growing up or not so great childhoods. Have you experienced any traumas, either one of you, in your life going through life?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Figured to ask. I mean,
I think that to me that is common with everyone because everyone comes here to learn certain lessons and to each individual whatever they experience in their current life can be traumatic for them. It all depends on their perspective and what they came here to learn.
yes.
So what might have been traumatic for me might have been like nothing for my neighbor,
Hmm.
and vice versa.
I agree.
No, it's about how you um the perspective that you have of the experience that makes a difference. And with us, we're trained by El Moria, by Saint Germain, that anything we experience should be treated as a life lesson. So for us, even though we said yes, there's nothing traumatic. It's more of a life lesson, and we know that it's for highest good why it's happening. So the only question becomes, what purpose does this experience serve? And we look forward to seeing the end result because we know that the end result will be very good. It's going to be for our highest good, even though it might not look that way at the moment.
And before having this perspective, yes, I would tell you my childhood was horrible and traumatic and all kinds of things. But having studied and worked with the Ascended Masters through my husband and everything, my perspective and changing that has helped me to see the lessons and to be able to move on in life. And my life has changed drastically since then because I realized, oh, that's why this kept happening because I have to get through this lesson. So then I just work through it, get through the lesson, done, on to the next thing, which is to me how life should be.
Yes, I agree. Do you find, okay, like you were just describing the going through the lesson, do you find it that some people are not realizing they're even in a lesson?
Most definitely. When individuals, contact us for help, yes, for them, it's trauma. And for them, we've had so many experiences or so many encounters where the individuals are talking about taking their lives. We have some right now, actually, that we're dealing with. And we're working with them through that because we have tools that help them with that. That's how bad they see the experience that they're going through because they don't realize that it's supposed to be a life lesson. Now, we don't tell them right away, hey, that's a life lesson for you, so behave yourself. It takes time to get there. So, first, we have to help them stabilize, spiritually with their four lower bodies. And once we've done that, and then they join the training, everything starts to make sense to them that they experienced. But oh yes, we have individuals that come in and they're really traumatized because they've had so many years. And we've had individuals that had child abuse since they were kids. Some kids were locked, some individuals were locked in these like closets or something, really small spaces, dark spaces for days, things like that. So for them, they wind up hating their parents, hating their neighbors, hating God, and
Not trusting anyone.
exactly. And so we then have to take them through with the tools that are here that we've been handed by the Ascended Masters, provide the tools to them, start showing them how to use the tools, and then we help them get balanced.
That I totally agree with you as well. It's just I totally agree on that, and we've used the same thing as a metaphor here, as if to take yourself outside of it, see it as that lesson. And what does hold people back, and a lot of causes disease in a person's body with energy is that anchor, that seeing it as trauma, as holding on
Yeah.
to that. And me, I mean, myself, I do believe that love heals that. Loving the person that did that to you, because hurt people hurt people. So to see it from the perspective that that person was
Mhm.
hurt, and that is why you have been hurt. But to break that cycle, like people call karmic cycle, to break that cycle, to recognize it and not carry that, what weighs you down, like an anchor. If that also
Right.
makes sense. Yeah.
That's one. That's one of the approaches that we have. We literally have a process that we take someone through. Um, is it okay to share that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When someone contacts us, from our experience, and again, we're speaking from our experience,
Mhm.
we have seen that when someone is troubled or having challenges, the source, my wife uses a large number, but she says she's reduced the number at this time. So I'll say, what number do you use it?
For clearing, about maybe 70%.
She's down to 70% now. But she says that 70% of the challenges that someone has are taken care of by the clearing work that we do. Meaning someone comes to us and they're having back pains and they can't pay their bills and things are just bad, relationships just disastrous. By the time clearing work is facilitated for that individual, 70% of the time, their life is back to normal. Everything is fine. All the discomforts and pains are gone. Relationships are mended. 70% of the time, that's what happens. So we always start with a clearing. And a clearing involves dealing with negative energies and frequencies and entities that can affect someone. So we've come to understand that negative energies and frequencies and entities, they're so common and they can attach to you so very easily if you don't know anything about them or what to do, then they can definitely hold you back in your life. The other 30% is where now we get engaged in healing work. And one thing besides the healing work that we do, it's part of our healing that we do is the life review sessions, which some people call past life sessions,
Mhm.
but ours is really different in the way we approach it. So if we notice that after the clearings, someone is still having challenges, then we have about 3 or 4 different healing modalities that we use. And then if we see that with those, there's still some residual effects of whatever they were dealing with, now we take them into life review sessions. And they might need a few of those, but then we've seen that by going through those, a lot of the trauma and the hurt and everything else is released and they feel a whole lot better. You want to add anything to that? Hen? You run a whole bunch of those. So what's been your experience with, at least give one example of how the people feel? Is it an immediate effect or?
No, it's once someone goes through a life review session, because they're seeing and experiencing it all for themselves, it could take time for them to see an actual resolution to the situation. I know there was one lady who I helped with a session just maybe a couple weeks ago, and she was going through a childhood memory, and she was describing a scene where she could barely walk, and her mom just kept telling her, "Come on, hurry up, pick up the pace." And she realized as she went back a little bit further that she had been to the doctor's office and gotten shots that day in her leg. And it caused her leg basically to feel like she couldn't move either of them. And while she was going through this, she said, "Oh my gosh, physically right now, I feel all this pain again in my legs." But by the time she was done, the pain was gone, and the issue she had been having with her legs was gone within a couple days after that. So that's a very quick response, but then we've had others who've taken
So
longer.
what you're saying is that in this life now, she was having challenges
In
with
this
her
life now, yes.
And when you were done with that session, within a couple hours, the challenge was gone.
Within a couple days, the
Couple
full
days.
challenge was gone, right?
Okay.
But the pain was gone within a couple hours.
So there goes an example for you of how something can be released very quickly, but sometimes again, there might have to be multiple sessions to release the other things that are there.
I do understand that. Had my fair share of experiences as well. Uh, a lot of the healing, actually, the soul paintings are with the same thing. I kind of use the multiverse, but in a way to come at a different angle to see what the person's position, where their soul traveled, any of that. And I do agree with you. You're saying with these negative attachments, a lot of them, again, I believe goes with frequency.
Right.
Mhm.
Yes, that a person is in or exhibiting. I have a question about what is your view on the current medical system that we have with energy healing versus, I should say.
The current medical system with
Yeah, with
versus energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
You
missed
want to
the
answer?
question because it broke up.
Right. She was asking, what is your view on the current medical system versus energy work?
Oh, well, that's something we definitely talk about in our community. We definitely understand that, well, we've been guided by this in the masters, that the medical professionals, they're helped by God as well. You know, they didn't become doctors on their own. So they're there for a purpose. So we have individuals that come to us for help and they feel comfortable taking medication. And we truly believe that it's about someone being comfortable because the last thing we want is for someone to be stressed, which then affects their frequency
Mhm.
because they're not sure if they're doing the right thing. So there are times that we encourage individuals to stay on the medication until they see improvement and they decide if they want to get off that medication. We've had individuals that, we always check for guidance. We tap into our spiritual team and we'll ask questions. What's the level of benefit for this individual to go to the doctor or to seek medical help? And based on what we receive, we'll let the individual know. So we don't have a challenge there at all. We work in tandem with the medical professionals. As a matter of fact, we've had situations where I have I've facilitated someone, few people. This has happened multiple times,
It has. Mhm.
and it doesn't take. It's not effective. And I'm like, okay, why is it not effective? And then I go and ask, and then I find out that they're supposed to literally go to the doctor, and in many cases, it's a specific doctor. So then we get back to it. Go to the doctor. Here's the one you should go to, and they go, and the doctor sees them, and they come back and they're given either prescription or doctor says there's nothing wrong, right? They can't find anything wrong. And then after that, we go back and do work, and now they're healed. And then we realize that they had to go see that doctor to balance karma with that individual, and that's what was affecting them. And once they went and visited with the individual, the karma was balanced, and all we had to do was do minor work and completely heal. They're fine within a few hours. So we've had situations like those, and then we use the medical professionals, for example, to confirm things for us. Let's say, for
Yes.
example, one individual says, like we had one individual that had rectal prolapse. Is that what's called?
Yes. Mhm.
All right, that's one of our latest cases. And she had scheduled surgery. So they had done all the paperwork and everything. And then she found 190 vision. And the day before, before she was going to go in for surgery, she contacted us and said, is it okay if I just reschedule this? And our response was, if you feel comfortable doing that, that's fine. And let's see what will happen in the next couple of weeks. Well, she rescheduled it and we got to work. After the 2 weeks, she went into the doctor. The doctor did a checkup, and the doctor said, "You're completely healed. Are you sure you had this condition before?" You know, so we got confirmation that everything was fine, and that's how we work in tandem with the medical
Medical
world.
Yeah.
community.
No, I understand that. You don't, it's not creating that scenario to pull a person, like you said, into a fear based or a lower vibration. Um, there are a lot of people, I guess that's what, there are a lot of people who are in, I call it that old paradigm of the medical. There's certain things I don't like about it, about the medical system, but I believe that is more on to, again, the, what, how they, certain medical fields, it depends on location though, because it is changing. Doctors do uh, prescribe many pills to a person and they might not necessarily need them. So it is that, like you're saying, it is actually finding the balance between an energy worker to sometimes heal what's in them, especially if you go to a doctor and or a medical facility and they have no idea what's wrong with you. So I do,
Right,
yes,
right.
yes, I do see that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, we have a case right now where the one individual, and she's been with us for a while. She was taking thyroid medication, hormones
Hmm.
for the thyroid condition, and a while back, she said, I know I'm healed from this condition. I feel fine. Should I just stop? And I checked, and I was guided that she should continue, and she'll know when to stop, but not yet. So she kept taking it, but she was upset about that because she didn't want to take it anymore. But she followed the guidance. And just last week, or maybe this week, no, last week, she sent a message. I went for my latest checkup of the thyroid. They did a test, and it shows it very clearly that I'm fine without this hormone medication. And she asked me to check again. So I haven't checked yet, but this is how we do that. We'll let them know. Listen, you're receiving guidance here. We don't make the decision ourselves.
Hmm.
We tap into our team, and they guide us as to what someone should do. Next thing is this. For example, we've had individuals that were on radiation therapy,
Hmm.
or they're taking some type of medication, and but they want to take it. They're comfortable with that. So we don't ask them to stop. What we do is work is facilitated from here to deal with any type of negative side effects. So even though they're taking these medications that could have negative impact on them, we simply facilitate work from here to deal with any potential negative side effects. And so what they get are just the positive effects that they're supposed to be enjoying. So we're not worried about how it's going to affect them because we know that we can do work from here to deal with any potential negative effects of the medication or prescription.
So, I mean, because I'm aware of that as well. I'm actually dealing with a close friend who's, um, her mother is actually going through some treatment. Do
Mhm,
you, I've taken the energy or pain, I should say,
mhm.
part of it to ease that person. And what I call transmuting it. Is that something that you guys practice to transmute that energy out?
Yes, we do
Okay.
it differently,
Okay.
but it's the same term. Yes, we're definitely transmuting it. Yes, and it's not us doing it; it's our team. That we don't do anything directly.
Hmm.
That's why you hear me use the term facilitate, because what we do is we're like the middle person. We know that we have the team that does everything. We deal directly like with Mother Mary, Archangel Raphael, the healers, the healing angels.
Hmm.
So they do all the work. And that's why we always, when this question comes up about, are you guys psychic or mediums? We're like, no, because we don't really do anything. We're just there in the middle saying, oh, will you please do this for so and so, or thank you for doing this for Rosemary, and that's all we do.
Hmm.
There's nothing magical about it. No, we're not that special.
I totally understand because it's not that it rubs me the wrong way that, like you said, the labels, but I don't believe in I get people have labels for the 3D what we're in, like we have names for our bodies, but I get what if you're channeling that right through you, if you're asking angels to come to you and heal, even source straight through you. I
Right.
always tell people don't limit it, because then you limit yourself and your experience. It's hard
That's
to,
right.
right. It's hard to put a label even on, as I say, source, the energy. It's hard to put a label on it because then you define it, which then puts it in a
That's correct.
box. Yes. So
Uh-huh.
it's some of,
Absolutely.
yes, I totally agree. And and the way that you're describing transmuting, and for myself is as I would take that pain and then invert it into the opposite of pain and then let it go. Or as you have said, I've
Yeah.
had angels come to me and pull that right out. Just take it right out.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
And do you find it difficult with people if they're when you say that about angels, because we are again, we're in different, people have different perspectives on it. Do you come across with anybody that you may not use those terms with just because it may turn them the other way?
No.
Okay.
Um, I, we're very transparent about our team because they're the ones that do the work.
Hmm.
So someone, we tell them, you might not believe in angels, you might not believe in ascended masters. None of that matters. They don't care because they're not human. Their
Right.
feelings won't be hurt. And this is the way I talk to individuals. I said, however, I, I always give this example. I said, imagine that you go on top of the tallest building somewhere, a very tall, 50-story building. And then you stand right there with a big megaphone and then you say, I don't believe in gravity at all. It doesn't exist. It's nonsense. And then you jump off that building. What's going to happen?
You're still gonna fall.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So, and this is how I explain this to individuals. I say, you might not want to hear this. You don't believe in angels. You don't believe in ascended masters. You don't believe in spirit guides or healing angels. That's fine. But guess what? They don't care.
Mm-mm.
They will still help you,
Yes.
even though you don't believe that they exist. So all I want you to do is be open to you receiving help. Don't worry about where it comes from. If you're really serious about getting help, being healed, then just be open to that and see what happens. We always challenge individuals. We tell them, give us 7 days. And if within 7 days you don't feel any difference from the work that's been facilitated for you, you can leave because then maybe we're talking nonsense. That's our challenge to anybody.
And then also, because there are so many different descriptions for everything, we let people know these are the terms that we use. We will say God,
Hmm.
you might say source or universe,
Hmm.
just so that we're on the same page. These are similar things. We just use different terminology.
Right? We might say higher self, you
Yes.
know? But we tell them, but you use whatever term that works for you. It doesn't matter. As long as you can identify with it, that's fine. And we stress because we've had individuals ask us, well, do I have to be a member of a religious group? Do I have to be religious? Like, no, you don't. We've had individuals that have been healed or received help that weren't even aware that work has been facilitated on their behalf. Because people ask us, do we have to believe that it works? And we said, no, you don't. You don't. We literally have a case where one individual that's in training with us, he's helping his parent, and they had told his parent, one of his parents, well, you need all these medications for high blood pressure, for all these different things. And he removed all those medications and has been just facilitating work now for this one parent. And the parent has been fine for months. Went for a checkup, they gave him a clean bill of health, and he has no idea that he's not taking those medications anymore. So just to prove to you that you don't have to believe, because he has no idea the work's been done.
No. I attribute, like I say, source or God, same thing. The more I describe it, it's energy, which is so I
Mhm.
equate it to when I'm trying to describe to other people. Sometimes I will go into the television or a movie genre because a lot of people are still attached to that, and I go, it's like the Force. You don't see it, not necessarily, but it's there, and it's going to be there. It's what binds us together. It's what's this entirety is. It's what's between us.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of emotions, we I've used emotions, so energy motions, because you do as a
Ah,
person, an emotion, your emotion will affect other people. It is energy. When you're angry, your blood pressure may go up, and that energy causes friction, and it does go out from your body. So,
I hope you don't mind me copying that. That's a good. I like that.
yes. Yes. So I do
Yeah.
understand. Yes. So what are your perspectives on the energies, since we're talking emotions, energies of a collective that we're in? And I know you kind of don't go into social media for that. I'm kind of the same. I stay in my own little world and kind of just feel it. But what do you feel about the world perspective or world collective energy at this now?
Well, it's not about what I feel about it. Again, it's probably because I work closely with the Ascended Masters,
Hmm.
and my belief is if there's anything that I should be concerned about, I know that they will let me know. I also know that they have trained me on how to deal with whatever is out there that some people find debilitating.
Hmm.
For example, my wife has told me about individuals that are concerned about um, being negatively influenced by astrological events.
Mhm.
Well, we've been trained and we train the individuals that attend our trainings how to deal with that. There's no reason to be worried about that because they're tools that you're given to take care of those things. There's nothing out there. Think about it this way, as you say, source, right?
Hmm.
The divine, the universe. We say God. There's nothing out there that God will do to harm us because that's not the way God works. God is a loving God. Even in the Bible, they portray, oh, he flooded the earth and all these other things. Okay. I think those stories are personally, I think those stories are embellished to scare people because God is a loving God. So anything that happens in the universe, there is a tool that can take care of it. I mean, we've trained individuals and they've done this on how to deal with hurricanes that are headed their way to their country. And then those things are taken care of. They don't send them to another country, by the way, just so you know. Yeah, but they deal with those, and those things then don't affect their country the way they expected or they're forecasted. We've got individuals that were dealing with some strange things in Spain not too long ago, and those were taken care of.
Well, in relation to the volcano, right?
Oh, in relation to the volcano, exactly. Then the COVID situation, it's such a huge thing where people are panicking. And we have a treatment that within 3 days, it's been proven that within 3 days, people are completely healed
Yep.
from COVID. Some
Hmm.
people within hours. So we just went over this again our last training on Sunday, where we reiterated to them, listen, some of you are guided to be vaccinated, and because they asked, should I get vaccinated? We check, and some of our individuals were guided to be vaccinated. Some were guided not to be vaccinated. Okay, but I wanted to make it clear to them, whichever way it goes, it doesn't matter because you know that in this community we have the solution, we have the tool that if you happen to get infected, within 3 days you'll be fine. We have so many individuals that have been healed that it's proven that you don't have to worry about it at all. So we're not concerned about anything that happens out in the world because then we know that we have the tool or will be given the tool to take care of it. We had one shooting that took place in Illinois, and we have some individuals that live in Illinois. I don't know if you heard about it. Where is that?
Highland Park, Illinois,
Highland Park.
on the
Some
4th of
shooter
July.
on the 4th of July was shooting people there. And
Briefly, yeah.
right, and two of our individuals that live in Illinois, they contacted us that there's a shooting going on. And that's one of the things that our members understand as well. That when there's something going on in your community, let us know if you're not trained yet on how to handle it so that it can be taken care of from here. Well, the moment we got the message, we got to work on it. And within, I guess, I don't know how long it took, but the person was arrested. Then we found out from one of our members that she read somewhere or she heard somewhere, maybe watched it. How did she know?
I don't recall how she knows.
But
Or how she knew.
but she was updating us, and she said that she found out that after they arrested the shooter, he claimed that he went to Wisconsin.
Yes, to Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, went to Milwaukee with the intention of shooting some more people. But when he got there, he can't explain it, but he couldn't shoot, and he changed his mind. He couldn't pull the trigger. So these are the things that we do. We have the team that does the work, and all we do is we plug into our team and let them do the work on our behalf. So we don't worry about anything because we have the tools and the team that can work for us worldwide.
I totally, I've experienced it. I actually agree with you in the same way. I call it a library, but it was a gift given to me at birth with the memories and being awake and aware. It is this multiversal library. So as you're talking, people having these disasters, it's some of us aren't in the same quantum observable spaces. And when we can pull our vibrations into a different bandwidth, that doesn't have an effect on the individuals. It's the
Right.
same when you're trying to stop. So it's we send out that frequency. For me, one of the things I do is I attach people are libraries. They're their own universe, multiverse. So a lot of times when I talk with a person, it opens that for me, and I'm able to see what they're connected to, where they're not, even in a multiversal sense. And I know I'm using different phrases for it, but I get what you're saying, that to send that frequency out to stop that individual from doing that act, to control.
That's correct.
Yes. So I do very much understand that. And even like you said, weather, I also have experience with moving certain things. So whether a weather pattern or pulling them towards myself. But yes, I do. It's all about frequency and not limiting yourself, I should say, like you've been talking about. And trusting in your higher self knows what your higher self is doing, especially when you're connected straight channel. So I definitely believe that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. No, we gave a training, and was that the clearing training? We have different levels of training. I think it was a clear where they were dealing with pests and
Oh, yes.
okay. In our clearing training, a few weeks ago, they learned how to deal with any type of pests. So we learned that one of our members, she actually saw snakes in her yard. We said, okay, this is how you deal with that. And some had cockroaches, and the big one was mosquitoes. How do they deal with that without using mosquito repellent?
Mm-hmm.
So we shared the techniques with them. Well, I didn't, but our senior facilitators did. But we were missing from that training, right?
No, actually, you may have been, but I was there because I shared with them the mosquito technique.
Okay. So, my wife shared with them the mosquito technique in the last training just yesterday. They were giving their stories about how they got rid of mosquitoes. No mosquito bites. They had their 4th of July gatherings and not bothered by any mosquito or any rodents or any snakes or anything. So there, it's not just us doing it. We've trained the members of our community that are in that level of training on how to do it for themselves and their loved ones. So now other people will be worried about, well, there's so many mosquitoes. Let's not go hiking. Our members will say, oh, we can take care of that. Let's go hiking. We'll take care of the mosquitoes.
I like that. Yeah. So it is, and I seeing it as you say it again. That's how I perceive like and like I said, energy frequency for me. That's how I work with. But
Yeah.
yes, And I do want to touch back on, you said celestial. Some of what we have been talking and teaching in our community here, which we're just getting building, we're more just connecting communities. That's what we're trying to do here. Um, is we talk about how your body is an organic computer, and you have the celestial computer, which is above you. It's the same, like as above, so below, as within, so without. And that's some ways that we explain and equate what these celestial movements are.
Mhm.
And then you still
Okay.
have the computer realm to actually help us explain that to people, like Wi-Fi is a frequency put out.
Right.
Yeah. So I do understand what you're saying totally. I do like the modalities that you use. And I could say I'm humbled and honored to meet you both.
Well, same here. Same here. You seem to have a lot of abilities. That's impressive.
Developed ones, yes, yeah, accesses.
Very impressive. I don't meet too many people, that can do the things that you do.
Thank you. I tell people, I said, I'm just me, because I do, again, people do see other, I don't know if that's a good question. When people come to either one of you, do they see you anything different other than yourself, like in their multiversal sense, their third eye, or if they're opening it and see you in a different way?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I understand that question. Do you understand that question?
Not really.
Okay. For example, I've had people come to me and see me other than myself, a dragon form or a light form.
Oh.
And yes, do people come to you and see you as the team that you're connected to? Do they see your team, the people that do see? Or do they see you as an individual, as a different light, in a different way?
Well, if anybody has seen us any other way, they have not expressed it. That's for sure.
I was only told years ago, many, many years ago, I went to a convention and it was with my mom. And my mom and I had separated, and she was talking to this gentleman, a Filipino gentleman. And after their conversation, my mom came over to me. She said, "Okay, I think that guy is weird." I said, "Well, why is that?" She said, "Well, because he told me that he can see you're very spiritual and you have this orange aura. Have you ever heard of anything as crazy as that?" And I'm like, "Mom, I've never heard of that before." And I just kind of brushed it off. And that was the only time anybody had described me in any other way. So,
Right. No, we have it now. The only experience I have had, and I'll say I in this case, is that we have meditations that we release to the members of our community once they reach a certain level. And I know that, and my wife can attest to this, that I've been told many times that when the individuals listen to the meditations, because I record the meditations, and there are certain things that I do before I record the meditations. I'm told many times that when they listen to the meditation, it doesn't sound like me at all. That I sound like a completely different person. Is that right?
yes, that's accurate.
So that's I've heard that comment many times, but it's only about my voice, not about the way I look.
Okay. That's fair enough. I do. I understand that we have a few people that speak what we call the light language. Some other people assembly language or deep speak, which again does go with this dragon language. It just depends on how they're equating that they're ascended, their higher selves through them. So a lot of people I notice will see them in a different light or see a different astral projection of them. And some of us are in multiple different multiverses. So I just was wondering if you saw that from other people, if they came in, but I feel like it's more, and I thank you for inviting me or having this space to invite me into your part of your universe so that I could see what you've experienced. So I'm thanking you for that. So
Right.
yes, but I do feel that.
It's a pleasure. Now, your question, it was about how if someone has seen us that way, right? Not
Yeah.
if we've seen other people that way.
Yes. Have you seen other people that way?
Okay.
That'll be my next
Oh,
question.
I think we deal with other individuals that are what what the masters describe as more advanced souls. I describe them as spiritually sensitive in our community. So I work with them separately because they're in a different frequency altogether.
Hmm.
So we do have some of those right now in the community.
Wow. Yes, it's kind of the same in here with the group coming in. We have people that are in different vibrational frequencies that understand certain information more, how it equates, or they see more. So I understand that. It's like I attribute to explain to people like a radio frequency, a radio station. And some people could
Right.
be on
That-
all radio stations, but yet they reside in a specific station at the moment that may be different from someone
That's
else.
right. Yeah,
Um,
and that's how we describe it as well. We talk about reception,
mhm.
about just improving reception. So we're on the same page there.
Yeah. Have you, I mean, I've noticed it myself in my area, but have you noticed? I'm going to give an example as myself. I had gone out for a walk and talked to people in my area, but it really much was like I wasn't there a ghost. It was very much, they were not in my frequency for them to hear me. Have you ever experienced seen it, or have people come to you and have experienced that?
Now, when you say, are you talking about my wife is smiling? You answer that now. My wife is smiling. I'll let her deal with
Okay.
that.
I don't know about my husband having any experience like that. I'm sure he has, but we actually have a training where we help train individuals to basically put on like an invisibility cloak. And it's usually for protection. And they've been reporting their results. And yes, they've been walking along and individuals like they don't even see them and almost walk right into them and things like that. So we've had that experience, or that someone who felt threatened. There was a man walking toward her, and she felt like he could harm her by his behavior and the way he was looking at her. And so she applied the technique, and she said all of a sudden it's like he didn't even see her, as if she disappeared. And he walked right past her, didn't even acknowledge her, didn't even know she was there. So we have had that happen and experienced that.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, I've experienced that myself. Yes, it wasn't.
Yeah, we have.
I don't believe it was intentional. It just was. I generally wanted to connect with people, and it was like, why did I exist at this moment?
Now, something that my husband has experienced, and we've been through this many times, is because of the way his frequency is and how highly I'm going to say his frequency vibrates.
Mhm.
We could be in the same room.
That's a personal opinion, by the way.
Yes,
Oh,
but only based on my observation. We could be in the same room, and let's say he'll say, "Oh, gee, have you seen the cell phone?" And it will be right on the counter in front of him, as plain as day. And I'll say, "Yes, it's right in front of you." He'll go, "Where?" And he'll just be looking around. But
That's right.
it's happened so many times with things, and he'll be like, "I'm looking for this, but I can't. My glasses." I'm like, "I don't know where you put your glasses." And then I'll go, "Honey, you left them on your desk." He's like, "Where? Where are they?" And I'm like, "They're right here." And I'll pick them up. He goes, "They've been there the whole time." Yes, they were. So, and one of the things that while going through facilitation work one day that he relayed to me is that there are times when he is between dimensions, and that's why he is not able to see or perceive things where I am, because he's in another dimension at the time. And so I've had to keep that in mind since then because of different things that take place.
Yes, I do. I have experienced that myself. Yes. The unfortunate part is I live alone, so if I'm not able to find something, I'm like, all right, well, I will go look for it in a different, what people call remote viewing. It's just me looking at it from a molecular view. If I was a molecule floating in a dust particle on my ceiling, and I could go, am I
Right.
seeing it from this perspective exactly where this is? So yes, but just some of the tools I have being alone or isolated, and I do say isolated or it's solitary for a reason, but it's going to change soon since I'm connecting communities, sorry.
Awesome.
And getting out
You
to
sound like you
Hmm?
you sound like you really have a lot of abilities because here we train individuals on that, like the remote viewing, the projection.
Mhm.
We train them on that as well. Like, you already know how to do that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah,
We should stay in touch. I hope we stay in touch.
yes, I'd love to. I would love to have more conversations. I know Discord's not your big thing. It's like I said, it's just a community hub. I'm just inviting people. Hey, if you want to connect with the community in Japan, here's a community space hub that you
Right.
could do that in. And yes, thank you. I was interested to hear what you've been talking about and equating it when people talk, I do often see your or I would say aura, but it's more your energy. Sometimes I'll see points in a person's life, so I don't talk as much. But
Right.
that's why I do these. It's not really an interview. It's an open podcast where we can talk about, hey, what is it that you see from your universal world? How is it that you're helping? What's the passion in your life that drives you? That's a good question, actually.
You know, I'll say I'd say it's my wife. She's the one that got me into this in the first place.
Ah,
So, years ago, you started this podcast by saying that you'd find out what got us started, our story.
Mhm.
Well, after my wife and I got close as friends, and she realized I would do things like we're going on an appointment, and I'll tell her, oh, 2 miles away, there's a highway
patrol
patrol
officer.
person,
Mhm.
okay? And they're on this side. I'm like, how do you know that? And then I would do things like that. And so she became intrigued with it. But for me, it was just a regular thing because I did it often. And then it grew to the point where I don't know if she was the one telling people. I really don't know how to. Now, I never thought about it till today, actually. But all of a sudden, people would come to me and say, could you help me with this? And I'm like, why are you asking me that? And then I would tell my wife, and then she'd be like, well, why don't you help them? You can. I said, no, I can't. She said, yes, you can. And so then I sit down with a person, we go through certain things, and then it would happen. I was like, whoa, it actually happened.
Yep.
And take it seriously because I was very skeptical. Then I thought, okay, I'll get serious about this if somebody can prove to me that I'm not making this up. So we found a psychic, pretty renowned psychic. She wrote books and all that. And she said she'll test me. So she tested me. She told me, you're pretty gifted. You're fine. You 90 something percent accuracy. She had all these tests that I did remote. She had people that were local where I was in front of them. And after I told my wife, she said, you should really develop this. And as we continued, for example, we would go to a library
Yes.
Mhm.
and I would see these departed loved ones that would come to me and say, could you go talk to my niece over there or my grandchild? And I tell my this person is bugging me. They're telling me to go talk to this person. I said, go talk to them. I don't want to do that. I'll scare these people. You know? But then after a while, I said, okay, let me talk to the Ascended Masters. I will take it on. And once I did that, our lives really changed in a good way, and we were guided to start doing certain things. So after seeing how much positive impact we're having on people's lives without the intense training from the Ascended Masters, I said, all I have to do is get trained. And they started training me. And ever since then, we've helped a lot of individuals. And when I say we, I'm talking about our spiritual team and the Ascended Masters, with us just being the middle person.
Mhm.
So our passion comes from seeing the benefits that other people are enjoying. It's nice to see someone that was ready to give up on his or her life, or they struggle for so many years with their health, and then all of a sudden things turn around. And we have individuals now that we worked with for years, and they're still not fully healed. It happens sometimes. I didn't know that were possible. I thought once you do healing work, it's instantaneous. Well, in some cases, it's not. We've learned that, but we see progress. And just seeing the daily progress makes me extremely happy. I feel really good about that. And that's why we do what we do. That's why if you notice everything we do, well, until now, the life review sessions, the third session, someone will have to pay for. That's the first time we're placing and that's because it takes about 2 hours with the facilitators that will be doing it. But everything else we do, it's free. Even our trainings are free.
Wow.
So I hope that answers that question. So
Yes.
we see the huge differences that we see in people. I mean, huge. The people change for good. We see relationships mend. People that were about to have divorces get together, and now their lives are fantastic. Their marriage is fantastic. We see relationships between parents and their kids improve. And
And
that's
some of these stories are just a few of them right now, are up on the Roku TV channel that we have for 190 Vision TV channel on Roku.
that's what we do.
And it will be on Amazon Fire as well soon. So as I'm going through and interviewing individuals who don't mind sharing their stories, individuals can watch and listen and learn and find out how others' lives have changed and that it's possible for their life to also change.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's how we do. And then when we see some of these individuals whom we've helped, and now they're helping their family members, where they're helping their parents heal, or their kids heal, or their siblings heal. Wow, it's amazing. Like, wow, we thought this were possible, but it's really happening. It's not just us that can do this. These folks can actually do this for themselves.
Mhm.
So that's exciting.
And for me, my husband thought that I could do everything he could do. And
Everybody.
he thinks everybody could. So when
Rosemary probably thinks everybody can do everything she
do you think everybody can do what you do?
Yeah, I have. Yes.
And it's just natural and just right there. That's how my husband thinks that it was. Anyway, so several years ago when he decided that he wanted help with all the individuals that were coming to us for help, he's like, all right, honey, here's what you do. Just do this and then you'll be able to get this done. And I would go and I would do exactly what he said. Nothing. Not a thing happened. In fact, there were many times where after applying and implementing what he told me to do, I would come back with massive migraine type headaches and things. I'd be like, something is really wrong. You told me something wrong. He's like, no, somehow you attracted all kinds of entities. And I'd have to go ahead and get clearing work done on me. And so that's when he asked his team to start helping him to understand how to teach other individuals who, like myself, I mean, really, I call myself like the no ability person because I could not, I didn't know how to do any of these things. I had no intuition, nothing like that, So he started to be trained on how to train others to do this for themselves. And now I'm at a point where I can facilitate clearing work and help facilitate with balancing and healing work. And it feels really good to be able to help individuals, even though I still don't have all the abilities that have been defined. I'm at a point where at least I can help facilitate with some work.
Yes. I see that. Yes. I totally understand what you're saying about I believe that a lot of people could do, again, what I would, even just thinking wise, growing up, the way I would think more, I would say in a computer, but it was more empathic. But I was like, well, why is not everybody doing this? Why do they not understand that I'm reading their emotion and we're going to react
Right.
differently? And I'm going, I mean, it was difficult growing up for myself to have that, and kind of being told not to speak on it, not to use it. I was kind of in a box for a while, like in put in a box for a long time to not use those abilities, but I still did. I just didn't, I didn't say anything. And I thought everybody was like that. I just couldn't understand. And I was trying to teach people about it, different perspectives. So, but yeah, I totally get it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you and my husband
Yeah.
are on the same page. You guys just figure
Yes.
everybody does what you do. How can you not do that? Isn't it natural for you?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
But I do believe people can be taught, and yes, I do see that. You're talking about helping people, and me for myself. I've been sitting here doing the art and have little to no income. I have little to no. I literally just, something happens where it gets by. Something happens where a little bit of money comes in to just feed my animals, because that's all I'm concerned about. But I have not been able to, most likely, just advertise. Even just advertising has been a little difficult. It's been a challenge for a lot of things. So yeah, but yes, I'm in that. Okay, I trust my higher self. Definitely knows what she's doing. It will happen.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
and not worry, because I've noticed. Well, here's a question for manifestations. I've noticed, again, it's energy. The more I'm in a positive mindset and not worried about, again, what your lack or any of that, the more that manifestation just flows into it. It'll happen. Do you teach or see people doing the same thing with their manifestations? You teach them to not be in such a low vibe?
We absolutely, we do the opposite, which is we teach them how to raise their frequency
Yes.
and we give them tools to keep it and maintain the level and take it even higher. And that's where our meditations come in, So we literally give them meditations once they get to that level. Well, they get meditations from our first training, which is paradigm shift. But that's just the beginning meditation. And then once they get to balancing, then they get the real meditation. And that then helps them to keep their frequency high. And they also get what we call decrees, which come from the Ascended Masters. We have affirmations that they use, and they learn how to choose those. And there are other exercises that they do to have. For example, we have something where in our balancing training, where the individuals facilitating the balancing then helps an individual to get their frequency to that of the frequency of prosperity. So I thought about that when you made that statement, like, oh, that's something that we could facilitate on your behalf and see how that helps you.
Or she's so in tune, she could probably do it herself.
Right. So
Yes.
my wife can touch base with you afterwards and
Yeah.
share with you how we do that.
Yes.
But so we help individuals just with that, how do we help you with prosperity? So instead of just trying to manifest it, we also give you the tool to deal with the energy for it. Like I said, everything in life is energy.
Yes.
And that's what we stress in our community. Understanding the energy and the frequency for everything is key.
Yes. Yes, I totally agree. I will definitely share some of the other paintings, but other things I have that frequency wise that I've worked with you guys after this. It's a pleasure. Is there anything? Do you guys want to close out? I mean, you can talk specifically about the 190 vision. Anything at all for people out here listening?
Sure, I'd like to say something first, and then my wife can close it
Sure.
out like she does on the on the YouTube videos about where they can find 190 Vision, especially with the new add-ons with the 190 Vision TV stations. But what I'd like to share is that when someone comes to us, and we have individuals that come to us from so many different walks of life, they've tried so many things, as far as spirituality. And then when they come to 190 Vision, it's different. It's like they're shell shocked. So we always tell individuals, listen, just place what you know for now on hold, because we know that what we're about to share with you is different. Some of it even sounds counterintuitive to what somebody has learned.
Yes.
And then we say, just give it a try. Okay, just give it a try and see what happens. And the ones that have done that, they've done really well. They've progressed extremely well. The ones that have decided to keep comparing with what they've experienced, they have a challenge. They're moving very slowly. They still see progress, but it's at a much slower pace. So for anyone that feel that maybe they can reach out to us and see how 190 Vision can help them, just remember, as my wife would say, empty your cup. We even have a video about that
We
emptying
do.
your cup.
Mhm.
Because it is different. We're not going, as you've said it many times, Rosemary, during this podcast, we're not entering the world of frequencies. It's not a physical world anymore. But individuals, they want to be in the world of energy and frequency, but still operate as if though they're in a physical realm. And that's where the challenge comes in,
Mhm.
you know? And we focus on helping them to start to function more in the spiritual realm. Because as I always tell our community members, everything that manifests in the physical starts in the spiritual. So if you spend more time in the spiritual, it's very easy to manifest something in the physical.
Mhm.
So I'll close it out with that.
All
And then
right.
here comes my trailer. My wife with the trailer.
All right.
You can find 190 Vision. We have a website, 190vision.com. We have a YouTube channel and Spotify, on Roku TV, Amazon Fire, all just by looking up 190 Vision. And then, of course, we also have a Facebook group community that is also 190 Vision. And that's how we can be found. And anyone can reach out for help. Again, it's free. There's no charge for the help. The trainings are free. And all that can be, again, done through our website as well.
So thank you. And thank you guys for inviting me to share this space with you. And I will close out this story time. And I hope that you guys very much stay in connection and this community and branch this out, because this is a beautiful thing that you both have.
We look forward to it, Rosemary, and thank you for spending the time with us.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.